So in this video, I hope you're going to understand why I film mainly in the purpose-built holiday resorts here in Mallorca, because we've come away from those today. I'm actually just outside of Cala. We're going to check out Cala Mondrago and also Playa S'Armarador too. Now these two beaches have won awards in the past for their absolute beauty, and as S'Armarador's name suggests as well, I mean it is just an absolutely lovely, beautiful place. However, it's also incredibly packed, and I'm going to turn the camera around today. We're going to see how peaceful it is down here, if it really is possible to find peace. And I'm here in the middle of September. You'd think peak season was over, but check this out. So there is a parking area, however, as I came up today, it was completely full, and I was amazed by the amount of cars we have parked on the side of the road. But people were literally queuing in to get into the official parking. I didn't have time to wait, and the only reason I am here at the moment is because someone pulled out of a space. Otherwise I wouldn't be filming down here at all. So the first thing I'm going to say is get here early if you want to visit Cala Mondrago, because otherwise you're either going to be in for a long wait at the car park, or you're going to be trying to find a spot along the side of the road here. So we're just coming up past what looks like a very nice agro-turismo accommodation. I think I'll feature this in the previous video actually, but it is very lovely out here. However, it is a little bit of a mission to get down to the beach. And I can see this car up ahead of me. It's probably had second thoughts about joining the queue for the car park. Let's go and have a look and see what it's like. And this, my friends, is the queue for the parking. My goodness me, I don't think anyone else is going to be able to fit into this car park anytime soon. And check this out, look, it's chaos getting in here. It is chaos getting in. Pretty much every space, it looks like, has been taken. But just to give you an idea of the parking charges, if you are lucky enough to get into this car parking area, look, one out. I can see one car leaving, one is now being let in. But anyway, I'm on foot. Hopefully where I've parked, I'm not going to get ticketed, we shall see. But look, there's a walkway down here, all the way down to Cala Mondrago, and it should take us around 5 minutes from this car park. Now you may well have seen my video from a couple of summers ago. You'll see how busy it was down here. Let's see if it's even more congested and more packed than it was a couple of years ago. Just coming up past a very random block of flats here. Around halfway down the hill here, we're just coming up towards the Hostel Condemar. It's a gorgeous little place actually. I'm not going to go in at the moment, but it's really, really good value little place to stay. Look, you can see rooms with terraces and balconies, and also a swimming pool too. I did pop in there actually on my last video, so if you want to see what that is like, go back and watch that. But as we come a little bit further down the hill here, well, you're taking a risk if you're hoping to find parking nearer the beach. Because this whole area here, look, we've got green zone parking, and if you've been watching my videos from over in Sóller and other areas of the island, actually any kind of green zone means it's a residential area. So no parking except with an authorised parking badge between Monday and Sunday, so that's basically all week. I've just seen this couple here pull in. I'm guessing they must be residents of this area, but really even they're taking a chance because there's only room here for probably about 15-20 cars. There is, however, a disabled parking space as well for any European blue badge holders. And we can just see as well that the 521 bus coming down, and there's a bus stop right at the bottom of the hill. And look, we're just coming down by the Hotel Playa Mondrago too. Now I am hearing a lot of German accents over here. I mean, this is a lovely spot, and as I can see here, look, the menu board is in German. But anyway, let's go and check out the beach. Now I've just come back from a very, very busy Santanyí market, and I'm hoping for a more peaceful experience here, so let's go and check it out. But before we do that, let's just take a quick look at the bus timetable. Now it's going to stay basically the same, but look, it's the 521 bus that you need. It leaves from Cala, goes through Cala, Porto Pedro, and then down to Cala Mondrago. And just to give you a quick idea of the times here as well, here and back. So just like you'll find over in Santa Ponsa, I can see the Chiringuito Pure. So I've got a Pure Mondrago here, but look, as I pan the camera around, here we are down at Cala Mondrago, and I'm filming this on a weekday. I'm down here on a Wednesday. Let's see how busy it is for mid-September. So the first thing I noticed since my last visit down here is that the first little Chiringuito has now been removed. Now there was talk about this being taken away, but as you can see it has gone. We do have more beach, and what it has given way to now is an access area and a mobility area, which you can see up ahead of me. Look, we can see we've got the amphibious wheelchairs. And also as well the lifeguard tower, which is sporting a green flag today, as well as a blue flag as well for quality beach. But contrary to what we saw over in the parking area, well, it's not looking too bad. I was expecting it to be extremely busy, but it's not actually too bad today. I can imagine on the Sunday it's going to be very, very busy down here. But this is what I can see from over here on Cala Mondrago. So, in the absence of the Chiringuito, which if you remember was here a few years ago, if you are a regular, the good news is that the Chiringuito on the far side is still operational. But I do have some good news, and that is that even though the very first Chiringuito has now closed and it has been taken away, the Safont de Nalis restaurant is still open. Now you can see here, look, we are in the natural park. I mean, it's really wonderful, and they haven't really extended the beach too far here. They've kept much of it looking pretty natural. Do have a look at the interpretation boards that we have lining the beach here, look. Got the aim of recovering the natural values of the beach, with various restaurant actions have been carried out to recover and preserve this natural habitat. And we can see that, look. Just panning the camera around here over towards the restaurant. And let's take a very quick look at the menu. And feel free to pause the video at any point to get a closer look. But I'm seeing here that main meals are coming up at around, well, I can see hamburger, probably not what you want when you're over here, but €15. Pizza, margarita pizzas are €12.50. If you're wanting seafood, the dishes are from around the €20 to €30 range. So that's a nice little spot. Anyway, I'm going to walk around the pathway here over to S'Armarador Beach. Probably pronounced that slightly incorrectly as well. Got to roll the R's. And there is a walkway that heads up and down the side of the coastline here. Look, can we just see the sign here? Look, Mallorca S'Armarador in this direction. But first, let's just pan the camera around here and just find out why this beach here is so popular. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. And do you know what? It's a little bit less busy than the beaches you'll find over in Calador too. It does look like a smaller version of Cala Grand Beach, the really turquoise water and the white sands. But it's not quite as busy, which, well, really I'm surprised by considering the amount of people waiting to get into that parking area. And I have to admit, it does get a little bit busy here on this walkway because we are heading on in the direction of Playa S'Armarador, or Playa S'Armarador. Let's go and see how lovely it is this afternoon. Now, unfortunately, we do have a little bit of cloud that is kind of coming down across the island. It does mute the really beautiful turquoise colours. I do recommend visiting here on a really cloud-free day to get the absolute best views from this resort. But even with a little bit of clouds, I mean, it is still looking absolutely stunning today. So I just see some fins diving down. They're not of a dolphin, they're of a diver here. This is great snorkeling territory actually. If you are coming around to swim off Cala Mondrago, make sure you bring your snorkel and your fins. I think he's completely disappeared. There he is. But there must be some wonderful sea life around here, particularly octopuses as well. But look at all the boats that we have out in the water. Now, as we walk into the sunshine, it's not going to look quite as blue as coming back in the other direction, but I'm going to walk back in the other direction to give you some really lovely views from over here. So let's go and see how busy Cala Mondrago is today. So the last time I came down to this beach, this platform was full of people here, actually just diving off. I can see it's now been banned. I can see there's still a fair bit of cliff jumping from the other side of the bay. I'm just looking at the pathway here. This isn't great for wheelchair access because there are steps running all along here. Just bear that in mind if you're thinking of making a visit. Your best bet is just going over to Cala Mondrago, parking in the disabled space and using that beach. But look, we do have a few steps, and there are a few steps further on too. It's also great to see that both of these beaches are lifeguarded, which not all the calas are actually around Mallorca. But look at the views as I pan the camera around. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. But let's go and take a closer look at S'Armarador beach. And check this out, look as I look over Cala Mondrago. It's not actually completely packed in September. Now, I am very, very pleased to see this. Maybe it's because I'm visiting on a market day in Santanyí. I have just, as I said, come from a very busy market. If you are hoping to enjoy a quieter experience, then maybe Wednesday is the day to come. But I think everyone from this area is packed into the marketplace over in Santanyí, meaning that over here today it's just a bit more of a pleasant experience. So let me know in the comments, have you been to this beach in summer 2025 and how busy was it? Did you have this much space on the sand? But before we leave the beach today, one thing I cannot see over here actually are bathrooms. I can't see any toilets, but I can see a chiringuito. Let me just go and investigate a little bit further. So look, we've got the rather nice looking beachside chiringuito. Let me just give you a few prices here. Coffees are €2.50 or €2.80 with ice. A little bit cheeky there, I've just had a coffee over in the Santanyí market. They didn't charge me extra for ice. €3.50 for a Coke, €3.50 for a Sprite, and drinks start, alcoholic drinks are anything from €4.50 to €10.50. And look, cocktails, €10. Half a litre of sangria is €7, and this is for summer 2025. And I'm wondering whether they do have any bathrooms around here. And it's a no. Now, that is a little bit of a worry. I'm going to just ask a chap sitting down here where the bathrooms are on the beach. Let's go and find out. And right behind the sunbeds here, I've just asked, and he said that there's a sign here, and I think you have to go back into the woods. Look, check this out, right back into the nature reserve, but there is a sign with an arrow saying WC this way. Does WC translate in all languages? I don't know, but anyway, there are toilets down back in these bushes and down in the nature reserve. How clean they are is another matter, and whether you might have a few snakes waiting for you, who knows, but I'm not going to go and find out. Anyway, look, I do see a guy down here selling beach towels for €15. I also see the little beach bar here looking quite busy too. Not only that, they don't only just do drinks. I've just seen on the other side here, look. They do a little bit of tapas, no prices on that. But if you are renting sunbeds and beach umbrellas, here is the price over here. But I think you have to get down here early because, look, there's not very much supply at all. Maybe around 20 beach beds and 20 sun umbrellas. Okay, so with the sun on the other side of us, let's take a walk back to Cala Mondrago. And you can see why, depending on the time of day, you can see very, very different colours on the water. And I think the walk back to Cala Mondrago is going to be even more spectacular than the walk here. And just coming up to this point here, look, just look how many people are out in the water snorkeling today, and just look how clear it is as well. You can just about see every detail in the water. Obviously by the rocks you're probably going to see a little bit more sea life, but I mean it is absolutely beautiful. Also, if you are visiting out of season, well, this is a whole natural park, and there are some lovely walks to do around here too. There's a whole map of coastal walks. When it is cooler, this could well be something absolutely fantastic to do. And of course, you're not going to get the crowds either. And I can just see out in the distance as well a little traditional Mallorquin boat. Very, very picturesque. So if this isn't one of the most beautiful coastal walks in Mallorca, I don't know what is. I mean, look, it's just absolutely stunning. And I'm so glad today that we don't have the crowds that I anticipated right at the beginning of this video. The queues of people waiting to get into the car park, and also just all the cars along the side of the road too. That said, I'm going to pick the pace up because I'm a little bit worried in case the Policia Local, the local police, do come down and dish out the fines. And look, I'm not surprised that this area as well is so popular with private yacht charters and yacht owners. Oh, to be on a catamaran today. And just to give you some views from where we've just come from, and also where we're going back to. And just check out Cala Mondrago. Now, admittedly, it does actually look a lot bluer if you're standing on this side of the bay. If you go back to the beach and you look back at it, which is what we're going to do, with the sun way out in front, it's not going to look as turquoise as this. But goodness me, what a pleasant experience it has been down here today. And I must admit, I wasn't expecting this, especially with all the news coverage we've had recently about packed beaches in Mallorca. Well, I think on a Saturday or a Sunday it's going to be a lot busier down here. I think on a non-market day as well it'll be a lot busier down here, but this is an idea of what it's like on this Wednesday in mid-September. And just coming up as well, I can hear a melon pineapple lady. So just watch out who you're buying from, is all I'm going to say about that, particularly if they're using dirty tea towels to wipe their knives on. Anyway, let's head on up. And don't forget, there's this lovely little picnic area over here right behind the beach. It's nice and shady, and particularly lovely as well if you just want to get out of the sun for a little while. I mean, look, free use of the tables and the chairs, and there are plenty of picnic tables too. Okay everyone, that's just a quick look today at Cala Mondrago and also Playa S'Armarador. Now let me know what your experience is of this area. Have you visited before, and will you visit? So if you are coming over here, maybe consider coming down here on a Wednesday, because I've been very, very surprised about how quiet it is, and this beach is by no means saturated, not by any means. I have been down here, like I said, in July and August a couple of years ago, and it was absolutely packed, but I would say this is actually not a bad experience. And also as well, you've got some amazing snorkeling opportunities here too. I would however say we do not have lockers down here. I can't see any lockers, so if you are coming down here to snorkel, make sure you get yourself a waterproof bum bag. You can pick that up in the Mallorca Under the Sun holiday shop on Amazon. I shall drop a link below, but don't go leaving your stuff on the beach, because while this is an absolutely beautiful and lovely area, don't forget that thieves also operate too, no matter what the season. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I am going to drop a couple of videos appearing both here and here to help you out with your holiday. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'll be filming over in Calo soon, so watch out for those videos. But in the meantime, thanks for watching, and I shall see you on the next one. Goodbye for now.